G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Sorry, I should have checked this before I started, but it's fine. We're really relaxed today, we're really chill. So I wanted to check the last video I did for you. Was it the I'm just trying to show up clickbait? It wasn't really clickbait. It's absolutely true. Yeah. It's not the last one I scheduled though, so anyway, that's confusing back here. But I think that's the last video that I put up last week. Today I'm feeling much better. Thank you so much for the comments that you wrote on that video. I just did not have the time. I did not have the energy. I'm just so under the weather, like mentally, I think. And this week has been much better. So everything's perfect now. It's all solved. No, obviously I still have the incredibly packed schedule. You might have seen this week something that I hadn't really mentioned that I was doing before because I wasn't quite sure if I was allowed to mention it. There are so many things when you're working at Disneyland that you're not supposed to talk about and you're not allowed to say, and sometimes I don't know which things I'm allowed to say and which things I'm not, so I just err on the side of caution and just be like, I don't say anything until it happens. But I've been working towards performing at the Pride Night special Disney After Dark events. And so there are 2 this week, but we've been having rehearsals and a lot of those go through the night. And so that was a part of the schedule that I wasn't really explaining what else was taking up my time. And then I had those self-tapes for auditions. I had another audition yesterday. So I really went from the Pride Night on Tuesday, which went until early in the morning. And then I went to bed and then I got up early in the morning again to go out to audition. And then I came home and I was just exhausted again. And a lot of the times, it's really sad, my brain isn't turned off when I'm exhausted from dancing, but my body is turned off. I just don't even want to sit upright sometimes because I get so tired. So, I mean, it's a huge physical exertion of energy. I'm sure you'd understand. So sometimes I just don't feel like physically doing anything after that. And I just lay down and recover and recuperate. It takes a lot longer than it did when I was 20 because I'm approaching 34. I'll be 34 July 27th, so that's not too long away to start thinking about my birthday presents. Thank you. No, please don't get me anything. I have every art supply I could ever possibly need. I'm really hard to buy for, I think, at this point, art supply wise. There's other things I like. Steve always says I'm a bit hard to buy for, but I don't really think that's true actually. Maybe I just said that because he says that. He's very easy to buy for if you have a lot of money. Steve, I know what Steve wants. I just can't always afford what Steve wants. Anyway, we're not here to drag Steve, not today. So let's get into the video. I've turned the camera on. Like I said, I'm a bit up against it, reading my schedule, but I did carve out a space of about an hour today to film and to make my voiceover, and I'll edit this at some point later today. Maybe tonight, tomorrow morning, I don't know. But I carved out at least an hour so I could be at my desk, kind of pack some stuff away. I had a bunch of just junk hanging around the table I wanted to get into a journal. So I picked up my mermaid journal from the mermaid challenge we did in May, and I just added a bunch of stuff to that. So this would be a good chance for you to see what is actually in there. Before I did that though, I went through and flipped each day because I don't know the order. I had all the minis printed from Collage Club last month, or this month actually. It was for June. And I wanted to put each of the mermaids I did on each of the days throughout May. This is also a big expose on just how far behind I am. I know I mentioned I was about a month behind on my Hobonichi 5-year techo, and so you'll be able to see that month was May. I don't think I did anything in May, and you'll be able to see all the mermaids that I put in there. So hopefully they'll inspire me to get back in there and fill out that month. I said before, I do know what happened on a lot of these days, and I have references in my iPhoto. Do we call it iPhotos anymore? My camera roll. I have photos I have taken. I can go back and, write on the experience later, but it's just annoying. It's annoying to fall that far behind. I know people find it very encouraging because they also fall behind. I don't. I don't find it encouraging for me. It's just irritating. I don't like to be that far behind. I don't mind being a week behind. That's certainly happened a lot of times, but a whole month, that's insane. I make a post-it note that has all the days on it that I need to check off so that I make sure that I get to that. And there's something about me making a tally or updating a list that makes me a lot more motivated to do something. So you'll see right at the end of this video, I pull out my planner, my Hobonichi planner, and I have a tracker in there for each of the health effort stars that I have. So for the red stars, it's dancing. For blue stars, it's a walk of at least 30 minutes. And then for pink stars, it's weightlifting, which I rarely do. Green is Zumba, which I don't think there's even one Zumba star in here this year, just because I've been dancing so often. And Zumba was, for all intents and purposes, not the best, but an appropriate replacement for dancing when I didn't have that. And now, a lot of the times I could go to Zumba, I'm either at work, so I guess I couldn't go. But the times I could go, I'm usually recovering from dancing, and there's a fine line between being in pain and being injured when you're a dancer. So I feel like I try to not go to Zumba just so that I can let my body recover and let the muscles heal and do whatever they need to do. So unfortunately, I don't think there's any green Zumba stars, but really, I mean, my favorite stars are red stars. So my journal's full of those, and that's why I'm happy. And I guess that's why it hasn't mattered too much. The only thing that bothers me is I haven't canceled my gym membership. And the other day, actually, when we drove by, I did need to run into the bathroom. So I guess it was good for that. Very expensive bathroom pass, but I should probably cancel it if I'm not going to go. And I would consider dancing in there, but I've danced in there before and people get kind of crazy about it. We have a gym here that's attached to the apartment complex. That's where I was doing my tap dancing the other day, but it's not a good place to dance. There's no mirror where I can dance, and it's not a big space. It was fine for tap, but I wouldn't want to dance in front of that. And sometimes when I film my self-tapes, I film them at Steve's studio, but there's also no mirror there, so maybe I'll end up dancing there. I don't know, I'm just dancing so often anyway. I don't think there is any spare time to dance at this point. However, I've been completely scheduling aside all the rest of my time that I have for Virtual Voyage 9, which I want to talk about in this video, and I'll keep it pretty brief, but I do want to just hit on the theme because I have released it at this point and let you know the dates. The date's July 10th to the 24th. It's a 2-week virtual voyage right in the smack bang middle of summer experience, and it's leading up to my birthday. So we finish on the 24th, my birthday's on the 27th, so I feel like it was going to be a nice, big, exciting lead up into that, just for myself. No one else really cares, but I know I'll get excited. And then the theme is me, myself, and I. Like I said before, this was one of the only themes we've done that isn't related to a story or a movie, really, a movie. And so I'm excited to go through it because it's presented a bunch of different challenges for me to put together, but ultimately it is subject matter that you should know the best because it's you. So it's not me. Don't think that we're doing a course about me. It's about you. But everyone's a different you, right? So you'll be doing the course about you. I'll be doing it about me. Steve will do it about Steve. Steve's not doing it, but if he was, my mum will participate. She'll do it about herself. So the course is me, myself, and I, and it's very introspective. We're really just kind of looking back into the past, and we're kind of looking at the present, and we're speculating about the future. And so it's kind of this trio of, things. I call it me, myself, and I, and it's past, present, and future. So the me that I was when I was a kid, like our inner child, the child that you actually were, the imagination, the creativity, all that kind of stuff, and kind of visiting a lot of those memories, nostalgia, and then looking at the present, which is kind of reality, what we do now, who we are now, where we're right at now. And I kind of like reality because it's a very tangible part of who we are. Like the only thing we can actually do is right now. Like the only thing that we'll actually be able to experience is right now, is we can kind of think back on memories and we can kind of relive some of those experiences and feel feelings about them, but the only things we can actually feel are right now. And so I like that idea of the present as well, who we are, and then who we think we might be in the future. I think it's interesting to speculate. I'm not a huge looker into the future kind of person. I don't really think about a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. I just know that I have these dreams and I have these, fantasies and things that I think about, maybe could happen. And I like all of those things too, because that's what kind of propels us forward from the now into those kinds of things. So all of those ideas kind of felt very, very interesting to me. And I wanted them to be very lighthearted. This is not going to be a course about, bringing therapy to anything. So, unfortunately, if that is something you're seeking. I'm not qualified to do anything like that. You can go on your own journey with that if you would like to in certain aspects. It's an art journaling course, like all the virtual voyages are. Excuse me, my nose is starting to run. It's an art journaling course, so, tissue. You can always, we always say it's themed for inspiration, open for imagination. You can make of it what you will, but I certainly won't be leaning into any of those themes. I know I'll never say never. We may touch on one thing that has to do with like a fear or, some kind of memory that we didn't like. Maybe that will come up, but I'm really not trying to go too heavy with it, especially because my kind of style inspiration for the whole thing are children's book illustrators. So Dr. Seuss, Sir Quentin Blake, who is very famous for doing all the Roald Dahl books, and Ludwig Bemelmans did the Madeline? Why do I want to say Madeleine? Madeline. He did those. I've got another one, Jove Tansen? It's under there, I don't know. Wait, I've got the book right in front of me. Why do I want to say Tansen? It's a Jove Tansen. Tove Jansen. I'm not quite sure how that is pronounced either. Why is everyone going to have hard names? Anyway, that is the illustrator of Moomin, which it was a super random pick, but it really lent itself to kind of like an imaginary friend type, drawing. So anyway, I'm not going to say any of them we're kind of diving into too deep. They are kind of style inspirations and this idea of children's storybook, just because I think it's always nice to be able to have some kind of style inspirations to lean on and to be able to explore in certain ways. I like to think of what I do in journaling is kind of documenting my life, and there's a certain creative aspect to it, and that there's formatting, really, that they're books, these journals are books, and the way that they're all formatted to reflect the narrative of my life, whether it's realistic in my 5-year journal or completely fantastical in my mermaid journal. There's certain formats and structuring and layouts and narratives and illustrations and just all these kinds of things that I think is interesting from a children's book illustrator perspective. Because a lot of what children's book illustrators are very good at is distilling information down very simply and being able to convey that visually, which for a lot of art journalists is kind of something we strive for. That's not to say I'm someone that would ever try to illustrate every day of my life. There are people that do that. I think that's great. But I always like to have the option to play around with it all. Actually draw a scene from my day or use my day as inspiration to draw something else. However it happens. I don't really care. You know what I'm like. But I just thought those would be great things to look at. So I'm thinking, someone was asking if we could get like journals together, what would that style look like? I'm thinking very sketchy, very pencils, very pens, black ink, black and white graphic, red. Just saying words. Black and white and sketchy and red. If you've ever seen the Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, very that. Etching, hatching, cross-hatching. It's going to be lots of hatching. So also warm up your wrists, get those really strong. And we'll be starting July 10th with our embarkation day. We have 3 theme night live parties as well. Those will be the fun dress up 2-hour-long live stream parties that we do. And I do have the themes for those. Should I tell you those themes? No, I should wait. But they're past, present, and future. So that's not the actual theme. There are themes for them, but that's kind of what we'll be looking at for those. So I'm excited to get that started. I mean, for you guys, I've had a lot of it started already for months, but there's so much to go through. And this one, I think the real interesting challenge was really kind of choosing which parts of myself to kind of go back and, visualize and make art about. It was kind of interesting to pick all of that out and then to relate it to these different children's book illustrators. And I'm really excited with what there is, because I think, ultimately what we're going to end up with is our community-based, experience, but we get to see so much of you in all of that. This one really reminds me of when we did Inside Out for Virtual Voyage 4, if you remember, and we did those pages where it was like joy, and it was all the things that made us happy. We kind of drew them around the page, and you know, the memories that we did, the memories that we drew, and we kind of painted them with the different emotions that they felt like, and we got a really good sense of, you know, what each other were like and how we kind of saw our own stories. Or even in the last virtual voyage we did, when we did that Burtonville thing with the big top tent with the different fears that kind of hung from the top of the hat, I thought that was really interesting. I love anything that kind of reveals a bit more about you guys, because I spend all my time on here telling you about me, and then this is really only the time I ever get to, you know, pull all that information out of you in a very safe environment. You know, it's not social media. Like it's very, I always say don't share anything in there that you wouldn't want on the internet, because it's still the internet. But I do like that community aspect of virtual voyages, and being a part of them is live. Being part of them live is always my best suggestion for you. I know we do keep them up there after the fact, and you can always purchase the other ones from before, but the live experience is just, it's great to go through. If you can carve out time to make sure that you're at those live parties, I'll get those times to you as soon as I can, and hopefully lock those in. And then if you can, you know, decide what you want up front, what you want out of it, just so that you know that moving into it, because these things really fly by, especially a 2-week virtual voyage. It's $180. You're investing a good chunk of money into having that experience. So I always want you to get the most out of it. And that's always my best suggestion. Know what you want, set your intention that way. If you want to do most of the work, you're going to have some time to do that. And yeah, be as involved as you can be while it's live, especially in those live classes. You know, if you have things that you want to add, like you've thought of great ideas that you thought might be fun, I always make sure that there's an open flexibility to the course to be able to bring in things that students are asking to see or to understand. I always try to add that in there, and that's only something I get from you if you're involved and you're kind of communicating that live. So that's all I'll share at this point. I think I've shared enough. Are you excited? Are you doing Virtual Voyage 9? I'm very excited. I hope you are too. It's wild to think that we're at 9, but I'm just like, I don't know. There's a lot. This is really, it's going to be really just loose too. Like there's not hardly any dense information packed into this. So this is all about, you know, being introspective, looking inwards, looking at yourself, and just kind of laying it all out on paper, and just being very real and intuitive about it. Like, I'm not going to sit and make you draw a photo accurate self-portrait. It's going to be a lot more free and easy than that. Maybe I will. I'll never say never, but I don't think so. So that's Virtual Voyage 9. That's all the information I have to share about that. I'll quickly share what else I was up to. Like I said, the Pride Night Cavalcade. That was very, very exciting. I saw it last year and I was so jealous. I wanted to be in it so badly. And I was very lucky to get chosen to do it this year. And we've been rehearsing that, and then on Tuesday we went and did it, and Steve came, so I had lots of fun videos, and I've shared all of those on Instagram. I'm not sorry for oversharing on there. You know what I'm like. I always I share as much as I can get, and then I put them in the highlights, and they really just serve as my own personal archive, if I'm honest. But I really appreciate when you guys, you know, don't get mad at me when I share all that. So that has been really, really exciting. I have to say it's probably one of the most difficult parades I've done stamina-wise, and even though it may not look like that, because it looks like we're having a lot of fun, we are having a lot of fun. I think that's the thing that made it so much more exhausting, is that everyone was so excited. There was just, I think I was too excited the entire time, and I was just exhausted. So I'm going to do it again tonight, and this is the last of the Pride nights at Disneyland, so my fingers crossed that I have all the energy I need today. I'm sure it's going to be the same way. When you've got so many people screaming and cheering and having a good time, like these are some of the most electrifying crowds I've ever had. It is, you just can't tone it down. If anything, you go so much further than you even thought you could go. You kind of just leave it all out there. So I think I like blacked out at one point. It was just so exciting. I love that. I loved it. I had such a great time. I'm sad that this will be like the last night that we do it. I'll just have to hold on to those memories really safe. But like we said for Virtual Voyage Now. VV9. This is the now. This is the now that I get to experience. And so Tuesday is already a part of my past. It's in my memories. It's nostalgic for me, but I can relive that experience actually, truly today, physically. And I think that's some of those interesting things that are kind of floating around my head right now as I put the course together. It's altering my perspective a little bit. I think especially the reason I'm so curious about going through that course is because the now has become so much more important to me than I think I've ever really thought about it. I used to think that the future was a little bit more important than my now, because my perspective on the future kind of altered how I felt right now. But knowing that I can do something right now, like I can physically do something for me right now. If I was feeling kind of bad, I can physically take myself on a walk right now and change my real life feelings right now. Seems like a lot, I don't know, like I've got a lot more control than I thought I might have had. I don't even feel out of control, so I don't know why I feel like that. I don't need to therapize myself on screen today. I just wanted to let you know, it's really opened my eyes. So I will see you again soon. Thank you in advance again for not being mad at me about all the Disneyland Pride Cavalcade videos I'm going to post on my Insta story tonight. You'll probably see this when you'll see this video tomorrow, so they're probably all over my Instagram right now. Thank you again for joining me. So glad I'm in a better place than I was last Friday. I hope you are too. If you were not in a good place, it was not a great video to watch. It wasn't bad, but I just need more time. I need more time to enjoy everything. But I'll take what I can get now. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.